right, exhibition races from the Kessler Cup by Town and Country Cycle Center. This one was all Jake Penhenko's. Number 101 grabbed the whole shot, ran away. What a great ride by Jake. Miguel Correa, number 106, was hot on his heels, but just couldn't close up the gap. The real battle was for third as we went through the first couple of laps in the moto between Andrew Maroney, Joey Galbraith, David Milana, and Jacob Bowden. Also, Sean Knoll was in there. But the real battle came down between Milana, Galbraith, and Maroney, with Maroney coming out with a third place. Joey Galbraith wound up finishing fourth, and David Milana wound up finishing fifth. You know, these young 65 riders, really talented group of riders. It was great to see them out there. They handled the track out here today. It was extremely rough, so Kessler Cup riders, once again, Jake Penhenko's took the win. Miguel Correa second, Andrew Maroney third, Joey Galbraith fourth, and wounding up in fifth was number 25 of David Milana. All right, Mount Holly sponsored Top Gun Minicycle Shootout. This has been a staple of the K-Rock for many, many years. The top riders from the 85 class on Saturday meet in this moto on Sunday. But I'll tell you what, the ride of Cooper Webb this weekend has been awesome. Had some awesome rides. Grabbed the whole shot in this one and ran away. Scott Carpenter from Lenox, Massachusetts was our second place rider. Alexander Fry was third. We've got a deep field of very talented young minicycle riders who were here this week. Luke Palaticola also out there. Jesse Pierce, who was the 250C modified and stock champion, decided to throw his leg over a minicycle and was in there, wound up finishing, I believe, in about 8th or 9th. So Jesse Pierce wound up going out having some fun. And Ari Richard had a great ride. Michael Giovanello, Brandon Hartraft, some riders out there who did very, very well. Not only at Loretta's, but right here this weekend of the K-Rock. So winding up top five, it was Cooper Webb with a nice, comfortable lead. Scott Carpenter wound up finishing in second. Third went to Alexander Fry. John Morello, number 133 from Massachusetts, also come down to New Jersey, and he did so well all weekend long. It was good to watch him ride on the Yamaha. Sean Ballard wound up fifth. Sean from Whitney Point, New York, always a force to be reckoned with when he comes down here at Raceway Park, let alone at the K-Rock. So those were the top five riders in that mini-cycle shootout. And again, Cooper Webb was the rider who took the win from North Carolina. All right, Ironman Classic racing action. You can see we had some dynamite racing, dynamite track conditions. It was rough, and every rider would say it was rough. This separated the men from the boys out there. Some favorites early on going out in this moto. We had names like Frank Lettieri, Nick Desiderio, Joey Peters, James Justice, AJ Catanzaro, Cameron Page, Austin Phelps. Lettieri definitely was, in my book, the rider who I thought was going to take the win. Was strong early, but then wound up having some problems. Seth Rarick was the rider who grabbed the whole shot, started to move out in this moto, and I thought it was going to be all Rarick, but Jason Brooks came knocking on the door, worked his way through from about third or fourth, I believe, came up through the pack, made the pass on Jacob Hayes, went into second, and then overtook Seth Rarick for the win. Jason Brooks goes home with a brand new KX250, courtesy of the Motorcycle Mall in Belleville, New Jersey, and what a way to take a win. It was a surprise to me. I thought it was definitely going to either go to Desiderio or Lettieri, but Jason Brooks was the strongest rider in this Ironman class this weekend. He shut everybody else down, came out with the win. So the top five results: first went to Jason Brooks, second went to Seth Rarick, third went to Jacob Hayes, fourth went to Luke Rensland, and fifth went to AJ Catanzaro for the Ironman Classic race.
You're always there in support of motocross. You're always here for us at Raceway Park. You know, you're here for the A-Riders because God knows you're giving up enough cash to them this weekend. And you're giving away a bike on top of this stuff. They have to step at Raceway Park here. Steve, thank you so much for being part of the action here, and we couldn't make it happen without guys like you. Thank you very much for this time. I love doing this. Trying to give back a little bit and help out if you want to do some work. Like Matt talked this week about doing a video, he wants to help out with sponsors. So I got my buddy Mark first from Dragon Ticket, and I want to have some sponsors the MXPTV car. All right, well, that's excellent. Again, thank you so much, and congrats.
And this was another good moto today. I'll tell you what, lots of surprises all day long. All day long we had a lot of surprises. First moto saw Phil Nicoletti, Factory Phil, out there taking the win. Second place went to James Dakotas. Third went to Robbie Marshall. That's not how the overall came down, though. We had some other riders. Michael Lieb came out to New Jersey from Manatee, California to do some racing. Michael Lieb, this was his first pro race apparently, and I'll tell you what, he shined out there on the track. Had some problems in some motos, but he definitely had the speed. And from Glen Rock, Pennsylvania, Brock Schmelin, who's been a fast rider out here in District 6, showed that he's got the speed to run with some of the top riders. Jacob Morrison also out there, Ronnie Stewart, Dakota Kessler. Going into the second moto, taking the win was Robbie Marshall. That gave him the overall win with a 3 and a 1 versus Phil Nicoletti's 1 and a 3. Nicoletti wound up finishing third in the second moto. Coming out for third overall was James Dakotas with a 2 and a 4. Michael Lieb wound up fourth with a 6 and a 2. Rounding up the top 5 with a 4 and a 5 was Brock Schmelin. So good ride by those 250 pro riders at the Kawasaki Motocross Race of Champions in 2009. Again, did not disappoint, full 40 rider gate, and we had some awesome racing. All right, Open Expert Racing this weekend. This was the featured moto, 12-lap moto out there for these guys. And I'll tell you what, Lowell Spangler, second to none this weekend in the Open A class. He was a rider who ran away with the first moto win, but behind him, it was just unbelievable racing. Michael Lieb, Phil Nicoletti, Robbie Marshall, James Dakotas, Sean Labanovich, Ronnie Stewart, Jacob Morrison, Mike Zatilli, Billy Shatro, Barry Karsten in there. It's not often here at Raceway Park to see Barry Karsten with a 14th overall. That just lets you know the level of competition that was out there this weekend. It was deep, and it was fast, and it was furious. So winning the first moto was number 427, Lowell Spangler. Finishing second was Michael Lieb. Third went to James Dakotas in Moto 1. Fourth in the first moto went to Brian Wallace. However, had a hard crash going into the second moto, so we'll talk about that in just a minute. Meanwhile, finishing fifth in that first moto was Phil Nicoletti. Phil Nicoletti had a tough first moto, but he got faster as the day went on. As we moved into the moto number 2, grabbing the whole shot for the second moto was Jacob Morrison. Lowell Spangler wound up second early on, chased down the ride of Jacob Morrison, finally made the pass, and then was just gone. So Lowell Spangler went on for a 1-1 win. However, the battle raged on for second. Phil Nicoletti wound up finishing second out there. Third went to Robbie Marshall. So Marshall got better as the day went on. Fourth went to Sean Lapanovich in the moto. Fifth went to Ronnie Stewart with a good second moto ride. Want to put out a shout to Brian Wallace, Mount Holly rider, who was hurt pretty bad in that moto, but we know he's going to be okay, so we want to wish him well out there. So rounded out the top 5 for the Open A Moto and this weekend at the K-Rock. Lowell Spangler wound up with the overall win. That was a no-brainer. Second overall wound up going to Phil Nicoletti. Third went to Michael Lieb. Fourth, Robbie Marshall. And winding up in fifth was James Dakotas from Peabody, Massachusetts.